Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Today is Monday, August 15th. We're here for the purpose of the regular meeting of the Elmhurst City Council. I would ask that you all rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk Spencer, I'd ask that you call the roll.
York.
Here.
Toledo.
Here.
Healy.
Here.
Levin.
Here.
Kennedy.
Here.
Honquist.
Here.
Wagner.
Here.
Mulliner.
Here.
Deuter.
Here.
Sabatino.
Here.
Leader.
Here.
Dunn.
Here.
Graham.
Here.
Polumsky. Absent. 13 present, 1 absent.
13 present, 1 absent. We have a quorum. Okay. Pardon me. We have a meeting within a meeting this evening. It's a public hearing about a proposed TIF district. So I'm going to read from a script so folks know what's going on. There's a public hearing scheduled for this evening. The public hearing concerns the proposed City of Elmhurst Church Road / Lake Street TIF Increment Financing District. That being said, I hereby convene the public hearing to consider the approval of a redevelopment plan and project, the designation of a redevelopment project area to be known as the Church Road / Lake Street Redevelopment Project Area, and the adoption of tax increment allocation financing. The council will take no action tonight concerning this matter. Clerk Spencer, I'd ask that you call the roll for the public hearing.
York.
Here.
Toledo.
Here.
Healy.
Here.
Levin.
Here.
Kennedy.
Here.
Honquist.
Here.
Wagner.
Here.
Mulliner.
Here.
Deuter.
Here.
Sabatino.
Here.
Leader.
Here.
Dunn.
Here.
Graham.
Here.
Polumsky. Absent. 13 present, 1 absent.
13 present, 1 absent. That's who is on record for attending the public hearing. Tonight we will take public comment from all interested persons or affected taxing districts concerning the approval of the redevelopment plan and project, the designation of the redevelopment project area, and the adoption of tax increment financing for the TIF district. At this time, we will have a short presentation from the city's consultant concerning the proposed TIF district. Mr. Rich Lickey, who I think you're all familiar with, but give me 1 second here. Do we have to? Okay. As part of our code, we have a limited amount of folks who are allowed to address City Council without a formal motion, so I'm going to do this with a voice vote. To allow Mr. Rich Lickey to make his presentation, I will entertain a motion to allow Mr. Rich Lickey to make his presentation to Council. Motion by, so I need a motion and a second. Motion by Alderman Deuter, second by Alderman Wagner. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Mr. Rich Lickey, good to see you.
Thank you.
I'll turn over the floor to you and your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. Good evening. I just want to point out, from the standpoint of the public hearing today, the city was required in advance to send out several sets of notices. There were notices to all the taxing districts of record, which occurred by certified mail, notices that also went out to residential addresses within 750 feet of the boundaries of the TIF, and notices that also went out to the taxpayers of record, and also 2 newspaper notices. I just want to point out that from the taxpayers of record notices, there were actually 2 sets of notices that went out. The first set, inadvertently, there was a clerical error, had some information on another TIF district, which was included, but then we rectified that by a second set of notices which were corrected and only had the City of Elmhurst. So again, we apologize for any confusion there might have been, but that was corrected subsequently, and this was only in the notices to the taxpayers of record. From the standpoint of the development or redevelopment ideas for this area, it's an important generator for the city in terms of both property taxes as well as sales taxes. The focus is on redevelopment as it relates to not only some of the underutilized properties within the area, but also the potential for redevelopment for existing business that are staying in the area, and the ability to assist them in terms of any expansion or retention efforts in the future. You know, a reason as we've looked at this and over the years, primarily the last 6 or 7 years, has been the challenge as it relates to the downturn that the economy faced over the last several years. The city being competitive in terms of other market alternatives or other municipalities that may offer TIF districts or like programs. And the idea is to improve project economics in order to help set the table for any future projects that may be considered now or in the future. And again, from the standpoint of the way the TIF has been kind of constituted, is a little bit of a pyramid type approach. It's not in a vacuum. You know, the city's comprehensive plan, its general economic goals have all been taken into consideration as we fashion the TIF. The TIF is really not as much a land use plan or a planning document for entitlements, but it's more of a finance plan. Really, the whole focus of the TIF has been as property taxes increase or property values increase, the property owners within the TIF continue to pay the same taxes. This is an important point. The assessor and the county clerk uniformly assess properties within the TIF district, and the same tax rate is in effect in the TIF district. So if you're in the TIF and you're located just outside the TIF, your property will be uniformly assessed and would have the same tax rate levied against it. The difference is if the property value increases during the term of the TIF, those additional dollars are separated by the county treasurer, and they go to a separate fund maintained by the city of Elmhurst. You know, the idea as it relates to the TIF is the blue line, which is property valuation. We bank on the fact that it would improve, but for the TIF, you have to make the case that you wouldn't see that kind of growth unless the city were coordinating redevelopment. And the idea is the taxing districts continue to get the same amount, that red line, but any growth over the 23-year period of the maximum term of the TIF would accrue to the benefit of the Special Tax Allocation Fund. The boundaries are identified on this map. Primarily, it's the Lake Street corridor, the properties north and south. We extend west to a little past Grand Avenue and extend on the east down Lake Street to York Street. And there's some properties to the north along Industrial Drive, and then to the south includes the park. The area is found to qualify. It's not enough just to have the redevelopment objectives in place, but there has to be a series of qualification factors. In this case, the TIF offers a fork in the road. It's either a blighted, improved, or conservation area. In this case, because of the age of the structures, we meet the findings for conservation area. 63% of the buildings are 35 years old or greater, and the threshold is 50%. In addition, we have to have at minimum three factors. We identified 6 out of the 13 in the TIF Act, and the area also meets the size requirements. It's greater than 1.5 acres, and there's the ability for redevelopment or potential to increase the tax base over the term of the TIF. The 6 factors that we identified, some of these on an area-wide basis, some as it related to parcel-by-parcel approach, were obsolescence, deterioration, inadequate utilities, deleterious layout, lack of community planning, and declining or lagging equalized assessed valuation. Those findings were went over in detail with the Joint Review Board when we met, and the more detail is also found in the eligibility report and the plan, which has been on public record for several months. You know, this is one of the factors that we talked about, and you could see as time has gone on, there has been a loss of value within the TIF. There's been 3 years of decline. That's a minimum requirement for the TIF Act, and also it went below the equalized assessed, or I'm sorry, the CPI. One of the reasons the setup for the TIF is important, you can see it kind of bottomed out in 2015, and the property value in terms of hitting the trough of the TIF, this TIF is positioned to be at a point where you could start, where the base has started to go up a little bit. So from a 2015 EAV, that would be the base, that red line that we saw on the chart, $28,654,330. That would be the amount that the districts continue to levy their taxes upon. Any increase over that is attributable to the Special Tax Allocation Fund maintained by the city. We projected, based on, again, cooperation of the market over time, increase in equalized assessed valuation of 78 to 80 million. The TIF budget, which is a budget over a 23-year period and is just an outside number, is 55 million. And the proposed land uses are mixed, including retail, commercial, as well as industrial within this area. Again, the TIF budget is conditioned upon performance. As TIF revenues are generated, they could be used by the city and allocate for these various items as set forth in the TIF Act. And again, these are only a guesstimate. The city does have the ability to shift items or shift line items, costs between them, and will be ultimately market-driven. This was just the best guesstimate at this time in order to conform with the TIF Act, which calls for a budget, and you have to identify the key line items. So again, it's an overall budget for the 23-year period. The purpose of it is to identify for the other taxing districts what the uses of funds could be for, and also provides a ceiling as it relates to utilization of TIF funds. Any increase over that budget would require the city to amend the plan. It does cover 23 years. As a result, there has to be some flexibility built in, but at the end of the day, the budget is conformant with city approvals and their determination on appropriateness of costs. And you also can, similar to your other TIF districts, will have an independent audit and a separate meeting with the taxing districts every year, an annual meeting. A little background, on July 13th, in this room, we met with the affected taxing districts, set forth under the TIF Act, and had a unanimous approval from the taxing districts as it related to approving for the city or recommending for the city to continue their deliberations as it related to the designation of the TIF plan. So today, as the mayor indicated, no action would be taken. This is primarily a public hearing to get public comment. Once the public hearing is closed, there's a cooling off period, a minimum of 14 days, no more than 90 days before the city council could consider the ordinances, and there would be 3 ordinances as pursuant again to the TIF Act. The first ordinance would adopt the plan and project, which has been in draft form for the last 60 days. The second ordinance designates the geographic area, essentially that map that we saw earlier on in the presentation. And the third ordinance empowers the city finance director to set up a separate fund for any receipts of the TIF revenues over the 23-year period. Part of this will also require, since there are some properties in the central part around Walnut Street to the east of Walnut are currently within TIF 2, those properties would be amended, actually TIF 2 would be amended to remove those properties and then include those into the new church Lake Street TIF. So that ordinance that removes the properties would occur prior to the designation ordinances that we just went over. Mayor, that concludes our presentation. We'd be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Richlicki. And for those of you who may have been here, it's kind of a shortened version of what was presented to JRB.
Yes.
And I'll restate. First of all, thank you, Mr. Richlicki, for your presentation, but also for stating why we're here, the public hearing. And if you hadn't, I would have reiterated that at the JRB, which is required, all represented taxing bodies, which I think at the time was everybody. I don't think we had one taxing body that didn't show. We got unanimous approval out of the JRB, so I thought that was a good step. Any comments or questions before we move on to public comment? Alderman Levin.
Thank you, Mayor. I see that we have a large turnout tonight of people who are interested in speaking, and I think because the language of TIF is something we've spoken about many times over the years, that the presentation may not have made clear a couple of things that I think are important for people to know. One is that it doesn't change the tax rate a property owner is going to pay within the TIF district. So it's essentially internal accounting is what I would call it, is that as the property value increases, that increased property value is captured, or the increased tax base that we get is captured by the city and put in our TIF fund, and we use it to fund those $55 million worth of development projects. If you are a property owner, it doesn't mean you're paying more taxes. It does not affect you. So I think that's important for you to know as you approach this topic. And second is, in my personal opinion, it can be a positive aspect for a property owner because it opens up, and I've seen it as we've gone through the TIFs, uptown, downtown, whatever we call it, and on York Avenue, where people come to a property owner with projects, and there might be problems where they need utilities relocated, environmental cleanup, or different kinds of things where those TIF funds are used to help fund the project. That's what they're for, maybe to assemble properties to help out. And in my experience, the property owners actually seem to get a better value out of it because it's in the TIF district. And I'm not disagreeing with anything that was said, but I think those are some aspects of TIF financing that kind of get lost. Usually, we see a taxing body come in, such as a school district, and saying, well, we're concerned because they aren't getting that increased value that might otherwise go to them, and we have to explain to them why in the long run the whole area is going to do better. But it doesn't affect the property owners in a negative way, and I just wanted to say that.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Alderman Bram.
Not specifically the TIF districts, but this presentation's a good one. As you were speaking, I was looking for it online. I know it's not on board docs. Could this, if I'm not finding it, and if it's online, could you please point to where it is online? And if it's not online, post it early tomorrow.
Okay. Any other comments? Alderman Dunn.
Just to follow up on some of the points that Alderman Levin pointed out, we have this proposed TIF number 5 is the 5th TIF in Elmhurst. The first 3 have been highly successful. And how do we measure success? When we compare the increase in the property values within the TIF compared to the rest of Elmhurst, those 3 TIF areas have performed extremely well, and those first three are about to expire fairly soon. We also have a 4th one that was just approved a few years ago in the North York area, which is still trying to get started, so expect that to be successful, but it's in the early stages. So just to point out that our experience with TIF districts have been highly successful to date. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments from the dais? Seeing none, I will ask Clerk Spencer, have we received any written comments regarding the proposed TIF district?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. At this time, I will open up the public forum portion of the hearing. I know that we had a sign-up sheet. We had 2 sign-up sheets, right?
Yes, one for the public hearing and one for the regular council meeting.
Okay, so just to be clear, we normally have public forum in our, for folks in the audience, we normally have public forum for our regular meeting, and we have a sign-up sheet. And when we do a hearing like this within a meeting, we have 2 sign-up sheets. If you signed up for one but you meant to be on the other, or vice versa, we'll give you an opportunity to speak. But we're going to go with who signed up first as it relates to this hearing. Once you're identified by Clerk Spencer, I'd ask that you make your way to this microphone over here, to my right, your left, and we look forward to your comments. Clerk Spencer, do we have anybody who has signed up for the public hearing comment this evening?
Yes, we do. I'll start out with Sam O'Day, 572 West Lake Street.
Okay, Mr. O'Day, feel free. This microphone over here.
Good evening. I think one of the it's an open comment in terms of being an existing business. We are the power market at 572 West Lake Street, and we came in over 10 years ago into the city of Elmhurst, and prior to all this TIF discussion, just like to let you know, we'd like to have high interest consideration for some of the businesses that have come in and invested into those area that you're today considering for TIF. So I'm more of here stating my comments and my observations into, don't forget the ones who came here first and really invested before all this has been put on the board here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeff Cheesick, 594 West Lake Street.
Correct. If this is inappropriate, I apologize, but my question is, what's going to happen with my property? I read in here something about redevelopment or development, or what's going on with that?
Well, Mr. Chizik, this isn't a Q&A, this is just public forum,
Okay.
but certainly, you can talk to staff and we'll go over specifically how the TIF works and if there's, I don't
I
believe.
kind of have an understanding how it works, but it was pretty general as far as in that letter, as far as kind of what's going to be done. mean,
I understand. Mike, Mr. Kopp, can you identify yourself? This is a gentleman, I asked you to speak, you can speak to him directly after this meeting, and he'll be able to answer your questions specifically, and if you don't get an answer from him that is satisfactory, which I highly doubt, feel free to contact me directly as well,
Thank you.
okay?
Okay, the last person to sign in, Tamara Brenner, 137 North Caroline Avenue.
Tamara Brenner, 137 North Caroline. Oh boy, TIF number 5. Here we go with another TIF. The bar for these TIFs is pretty low. The reasons that we give for setting these things up under this conservation district law that Illinois has in place, it's a very small reason to be setting aside monies for 23 years. I'm 51 now, 23 years. I wonder, am I still going to live in Elmhurst in 23 years? 23 years is a long time to wait for the long run to get here. In the meantime, other taxing districts won't get to benefit from whatever development there is, which means that they have to raise money some other way, which could mean increasing taxes on me. My taxes continue to go up. School board and park district are the main ones, and other ones too. These monies that are developed inside the TIF don't get out in a useful time frame to help the rest of us that are outside the TIF. The TIF district will benefit mostly a small number of people that are inside the TIF, starting with the car dealership that's going to get $6 million, which we still don't know why they have to get $6 million, but that's what you guys have already decided, and that's what the first thing was for this TIF. So we're already in the hole by that. And there's a few other businesses that I think are going to benefit pretty good from this TIF. The but-for provision, it's always, well, if we don't do the TIF, then we'll never get the development. The city of Elmhurst has made that a self-fulfilling prophecy because big businesses know, some of these businesses know that they can reach their hand out and you guys will bend over backwards to accommodate. $6 million for a car dealership, all they did was ask, can we have it please? And of course you want to give it to them. So why wouldn't they wait for you to hand them money? Why would they do it on their own when it's so free to get money from this city? So this but-for test is self-fulfilling. This public hearing, sorry, I'm a little disorganized, but I have prior experience where having been super organized for presentations before, been accused by the city of being unqualified to use arithmetic and stuff. So all you want to know from citizens really is whether they like it or they don't like it. So I didn't spend too much time organizing my thoughts. I just scribbled them down while I was sitting here listening to the TIF consultant again. This public hearing is a formality. You guys are already going to approve the TIF. We just basically heard it from a couple of the comments from the aldermen, so anything anybody says right now is not going to change that. But I'm still saying I don't like it. That's what I'm qualified to say, right? Creative financing, we heard that this is about financing. I don't like creative financing. Financing should be the most boring thing ever, and having funds captured by the city does pretty much explain it. The funds are captured by the city and they're not shared with other entities. I'm very, very disappointed that we're going to have the entire, well, I shouldn't say the entire because that's probably not true. There probably are some businesses outside the TIF, but we're getting a lot of TIF districts. The law is pretty forgiving in Illinois. It should be used, in my opinion, for blight. We don't have blight here, thank goodness. We live in a great town that shouldn't need this extra boost of creative financing to benefit a few with basically the public's resources. Thanks.
Okay, Clerk Spencer, anyone else who signed up?
That's it.
Okay, as I said, we had a sign-up sheet, but if you do not have an opportunity to sign up and wish to be part of the public comment for this public hearing as it relates to the proposed TIF, please raise your hand and identify yourself so I can make a plan. Doesn't seem like I need much of a plan. There's one other person. Anyone else? Okay. Mr. Pagash?
Once again, my name is Claude Poggett, 566 West Gladys. Once again, we're going to be promised this is beneficial. Unfortunately, certain things were left out. There's a car dealership, Jaguar, came to the council, bought the Cadillac dealership, which was a glass outfit, wanted $6 million. City was short, so they were going to sell general obligation bonds. About $2.5 million worth. Guy can buy a $6 million dealership, but he can't afford to build up his dealership facilities. Endlessly, we're promised a TIF. We're going to benefit 23 years from now. You'll benefit if you're here. But if you're not, all you're going to do is keep on feeding it. All these businesses they're talking about, the council has also forgot to tell you, they come to the city and they say they'd like a share in the sales tax. City's been going along and saying, sure, 15 years, you're going to have 75% of the sales tax you generate. That's something else that wasn't said. And the city gives it to them. You get 25%, and it goes on and on for 15 years. It used to be 10, but it's 15 years. That also wasn't said. And if you don't come to these meetings and you don't listen to them, you don't know about it. Another thing about this TIF, Barron's Park does not generate taxes. It's a park. Maybe I can see what's happening along Lake Street, but why the park? Why does the park have to be part of this TIF? I enjoy the open space. What business are they going to put in the park? Doesn't generate taxes, doesn't generate sales taxes, doesn't generate property taxes. But they want it in this TIF. And there hasn't been one explanation by the gentleman that stood up, or a council member will answer. Why the park? What benefit does the park get out of this? And what will happen in that park? Well, you can all sit here and say, geez, it's a grand idea. We also pick up Superior again. They were in their own TIF. Now they're in a TIF for another 23 years. Isn't that wonderful? How about your house? You want a TIF for your home? So your taxes will be held and be used for improving your block, your neighborhood? It's not gonna happen. So before you leave here, start asking them those questions. Are they going to give the sales tax away? Are they going to come up with the $6 million for the dealership? Why is Barron's Park part of this TIF? There's no need to be part of it. It's a nice park. I go there myself. I love walking around the park. Why does the park have to be part of the TIF when, well, maybe we're going to put flood retention there. You want to lose the park? Half of it? Why? Why take it all the way down to York? York has already got a TIF. So does the gas station. Does that go into 23 years? Because the TIF on York is already running out? Was any of that said here? Do you have any knowledge of it? I haven't seen this many people in this council chamber since I've come here. These are the questions that have to be asked, not the benefit to you after 23 years. Because the sales tax is going to generate out of there they're going to give back to the owners of the businesses. And you're going to have to make up the difference. School board will get some money out of it, CD, all of them. But that park has no business being in this TIF. I like the trees and I like the grass and I like to go walking there.
Okay, anyone else who didn't have an opportunity to sign up wish to participate in public hearing this evening, please raise your hand. Seeing none, that concludes our public comment portion of the meeting.
Adjournment.
What was that?
Adjournment.
Yes, yes. Any other comments from the dais before I ask for adjournment? Alderman Levin.
Although we don't respond to public comment, I just want to point out that because it's such a poignant question of why the parks in there, it's not to do anything to the parks, it's not to do anything with the parks, but sometimes dollars from TIF projects are used to help schools or park district, and if they're not within the geographic area, it can't be used. There's no danger to the park. The grass will be there.
Thank you, good point. Okay, to wrap this up, sorry, Alderman York.
Thank you, Your Honor. I think another point that needs to be clarified is the fact that TIF 2, the current TIF 2 will be expiring at the end of this year, and that will, that includes the main Superior Ambulance building, which will be released onto the tax rolls at the full value.
Okay, good clarification. To bring us to a close, I'll ask for a motion to close.
Mr. Mayor.
Motioning to close?
No, question or statement?
Alderman Brand.
Thank you. One other clarification. It was mentioned in public comment about sales tax. Sales tax is a separate incentive that the city can choose to do that's outside of the TIF realm. TIF is dealing with the property tax and property tax only. I just want to make sure those two things are separated. TIF is the AV and property taxes. There is a program the city does utilize for sales tax incentive, but those two are totally separate.
Okay. I'll now ask for a motion to close the public hearing. Motion by Alderman York, second by Alderman Levin, and ask Clerk Spencer to call the vote.
Oh, do you want me to?
I think so, for the record.
York.
Aye.
Toledo.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Levin.
Aye.
Kennedy.
Aye.
Onquist.
Aye.
Wagner.
Aye.
Mulliner.
Aye.
Deuter.
Aye.
Sabatino.
Aye.
Leader.
Aye.
Dunn.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Palomsky, absent. 13 ayes, 0 nays, 1 absent.
13 ayes, 0 nays, motion carries. Public hearing is closed for the Church Road / Lake Street TIF. One other comment I'll make, and if you couldn't tell, but Chairman Levin is chairman of our DP&Z committee, and as this TIF process continues to move forward, there will be multiple meetings at the committee level and multiple opportunities for the public to attend, provide comment, ask questions. In addition, you can ask your individual alderman if you have specific questions. All right, on to agenda item 4, receipt of written communications from the public. At this time, is there anyone in the audience who has any written communication they wish to submit to the clerk? If so, please raise your hand. No written communications. Okay, we're going to move on to public forum, but we're going to take about 30 seconds and allow folks who are here for the public hearing to filter out.
People were here. I think they left. I think everyone's confused.
It's turning into a party.
That's fine? Okay. I haven't heard the name before. That's from the speech there. Okay. Gotcha.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He loves that. And, oh.
You're killing me.
Yeah, they're my cubs.
Okay, on to agenda item 5, public forum. Clerk Spencer, at this time, is there anyone who has signed up for public forum this evening?
Yes, and we'll
Oh, wait,
start.
before we jump in, I didn't get my
Okay.
little spiel. I jumped the gun on that. Sorry, agenda item 5 is public forum. This is an opportunity for anybody in the audience to address the council on any comments or any issue you may choose. We ask that you direct all your comments up to the dais. Out of respect for work that we have to get done here this evening and other folks who may want to speak, we ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes. If you go over your 3 minutes, I'll give you a gentle reminder and ask you to wrap up. At this time, Clerk Spencer, is there anybody who has signed up for public forum?
We'll start with Todd Benson, 391 River Glen.
When you're called, please approach the same microphone. Mr. Benson, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Todd Benson, 391 River Glen, Elmhurst, Illinois. Da da dit 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 da da dit da da dit 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 da da dit 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 da. In 1936, those were the sounds that waffled through Elmhurst. Actually, probably in 1903 or 08, an early explorer. Ham radio has been around since the development of radio in Marconi in 1895 or so. In 1936, a group of Elmhurst amateurs joined together and chartered the York Radio Club, which has been in existence through all of those years. This Friday evening, we will celebrate the 80th anniversary of the club and invite all of our elected officials, our community, as well as other hams around the Chicagoland area to come up and celebrate that achievement. We, during the summertime, have the opportunity to meet at the Elmhurst Fire Department Training Facility, which is up on North York Road, or actually on Addison behind the McDonald's. I would welcome all of you. We'll start at 6 p.m. We have a special FCC license for 2 weeks to operate W9Y, which we will proclaim around the world that the York Radio Club is celebrating 80 years. We, as part of our franchise, just like a commercial broadcasting station, hams have always practiced their franchise, which is to return public service to the community. We have a relationship with the fire department, where the police department, we have a station, radio station at Firehouse 1, and even in times when you think that ham radio is non-existent and has gone away, there are 800,000 hams across the United States, over 100 in the city of Elmhurst, and when the cell phones break down or the towers don't work, which, by the way, were helped and developed by amateur radio operators, hams still have the ability to get on the air and report in to the firehouse that there's a tree down on Church Street. So again, this Friday night, if you have nothing to do, come on up, because each of us could probably still get a hobby at our, and no matter what age we're at. Friday night, 6 p.m. at the Fryer Training Facility. Thank you, and as hams say, 73 or best wishes. By the way, my call is W9YK, and I'm an amateur operator.
Mr. Benson, I'd ask that you, can you email, contact city manager and get those details that you, and some of the other details so we can.
I absolutely will, and in fact, the city doing a fine job in social media and in all other likes. That information will be shared with Cassandra, and a flyer and all will be there in the morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Jim DeForest, 300 West Lake Street. Oh, maybe. Was that him? No? Jim DeForest. Well,
Westlake, he might have been one of the folks who signed
the
up.
TIF, yeah.
He had a couple opportunities,
yeah,
so
he
we'll
signed up,
go to the next one.
but he didn't talk, so. Quad Pagash, 566 West Gladys.
Claude Bogach, 566 West Gladys. It was an interesting meeting last time the council met. Chairman of the committee said they met before the council meeting and made a couple decisions and would ask the council to vote on it. He didn't get any phone calls, didn't get any letters, didn't get any telegrams. No messenger came to tell him that somebody was interested in what was on the agenda. Council voted for it. Over the years, I've gone to committee meetings, never called, never sent an email, never sent a letter, never had a messenger come to the city and say I'd be there. Even plan on going to some of the meetings, I just stumbled in. Didn't necessarily agree with what was decided, but at least they had an understanding why it was decided. One of the new aldermen said that the council works because of the committee system. Well, if the committee decides that it just wants to meet before the council, it doesn't leave much room to tell the council members why the decision was made. Having thought about it the last couple of weeks, I've come to a decision. Last couple of meetings this year have not been the best council meetings I've ever been to. So I propose that the council does this. It eliminates the council rules. Eliminates Robert's Rules of Order. That way, at least I have some idea how this council operates. We don't need a legal department either. As much as aldermen have challenged what was being done, it just keeps on going on. So, that's what I propose. It makes it easier. There are no rules then, because in the last meetings or so, there have been no rules. And until the council decides that there are rules, then maybe you can meet again. Because if you're going to eliminate rules, you can just be all called up and you all can nod your head. See, unfortunately for me, I live under your decisions, rightly or wrongly, whatever I think of them. But you as aldermen have to live with your decisions. You really do.
Mr. Pagash, I'd ask you to wrap up your comments.
So consider it, Mayor. Like you said, you got the best council that's ever been you sat on.
Last, Tamara Brenner, 137 North Caroline Avenue.
Tamara Brenner. The one thing I don't like on tonight's council agenda is once again the use of the suspension of the rules to push things through in a speedy fashion. This is being taken to an art form by the council, and I think it's the wrong process to be following, even if these 3 projects, although it was 4 when I checked the agenda on Thursday, so something changed for one of them. These might be the greatest 3 projects ever to be passed by the council. Maybe they are. But to me, that is irrelevant. The point is that using this suspension of the rules to push things through like this speedily is not the way that the council should be going. It doesn't allow for proper oversight for these particular projects. In addition, in this particular case, this agenda was published on Thursday night. I looked at it Thursday night, and the committee meeting at which these reports were approved didn't even occur till Friday morning. So there's multiple steps being skipped here, and even if they're good projects, I don't think this is a process that should be followed. Please do things in a timely enough manner that it can go through the proper process where the committee meeting happens, people have a chance to attend and respond, and then they have a chance to review materials that are pertinent. Instead of this, which is nobody saw the committee meeting, nobody has a chance to have seen the output of the committee meeting, and now you're going to not only approve the report that was pre-published, you're going to approve the resolutions too, and if there's something that's undesirable there, nobody's had a chance to say anything about it. It's a very poor process, and I wish the city would please stop doing this, stop doing it repeatedly. Thank you.
She's the last one to sign up, Mayor.
Okay, that's it for folks who had an opportunity to sign up for public forum. Is there anyone in the audience who did not have an opportunity to sign in on our sign-in sheet but wishes to address council at this time? If so, please raise your hand and be identified. I see one. Is there anybody else? Okay, gentleman in the back. State your name for the record, please.
Ben Silver, I'm a community lawyer with the Citizen Advocacy Center on York Street. I just wanted to echo what Ms. Brenner had to say. I know some of the aldermen have spoken out against about some of the process concerns recently, and you know, as a community organization that is very concerned with the democratic process, I would just like to reiterate those concerns. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else for public forum? Mr. Graff.
Kevin Graff, and I'm here as a Elmhurst Park Board Commissioner tonight. And I saw on the agenda tonight the Crescent and York Commons Detention Basin, and looks like to be an approval for an alternative number 2 that seemed to be from a council meeting on Friday. I echo the sentiment that we had a Friday meeting at 8 a.m., which many of us couldn't attend because we were working. And so I just look forward to hearing some more information about that, because that's not something that we've reviewed, quite honestly, from the Park Board directly for the commissioners. So I'd like to hear a little more information about that. And hopefully we'll get this going as soon as we can, since the pool's closed now, and we can get the construction going. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else wish to address the council at this time? Seeing none, that concludes our public forum portion of the meeting. On to announcements. Any announcements from the dais? Seeing none, we'll go on to consent agenda. I'm sorry. Alderman York.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just wanted to bring attention that the Elmhurst Children's Assistance Foundation has their annual golf outing on Friday, August 26th. It's at White Pines Golf Club up in Bensonville. Any information can be found at ECAF, the number 4 kids.org. And this is a primary fundraiser. They do a lot of fabulous work for families in need here in Elmhurst. Thank you.
Okay. Any other announcements? Yes. Treasurer Leibovitz.
I just want to tell you that the tickets for the Craft Beer Fest are for sale online. So I hope you will all plan on attending. It's on September 17th on the grounds of the museum.
Great. The Elmhurst History Museum, the hopefully second annual Craft Beer Fest. Any other announcements? Seeing none, we'll go on to agenda item 7, consent agenda. At this time, is there any item on the consent agenda and the alderman wishes to have removed for further comment or vote no? Alderman Healy.
7.10.
7.10, okay. Alderman Deuter.
7.8.
Sorry?
7.8.
7.8. Alderman Bram.
7.9 and 7.14.
7.9. Anyone else? Alderman Levin.
Is there anything left? 7.12.
7.12. Okay. Anyone else have any other item they wish to have removed? All right. I'll make sure I got this right. I've got 7.8, 7.9, 7.10, 7.12, and 7.14. Is that what? That's correct. Okay. I will now entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda minus items 7.8, 7.9, 7.10, 7.12, and 7.14. Motion to approve minus those items. Okay, motion by Alderman Bram, second by Alderman Wagner. Clerk Spencer.
York.
Aye.
Toledo.
Aye.
Ely.
Aye.
Levin.
Aye.
Kennedy.
Aye.
Onquist.
Aye.
Wagner.
Aye.
Mulliner.
Aye.
Deuter.
Aye.
Sabatino.
Aye.
Leader.
Aye.
Dunn.
Aye.
Bram.
Aye.
Kolumsky, absent. 13 ayes, 0 nays, 1 absent.
13 ayes, 0 nays. Motion carries. Consent agenda is approved minus items 7.8, 7.9, 7.10, 7.12, and 7.14. On to agenda item 7.8. This is a report out of Public Works. Clerk Spencer, I'd ask that you read the recommendation.
It is therefore the recommendation of the Public Works and Buildings Committee that the total unit price bid from Martam Construction, Inc. in the amount of $2,285,455.50 be accepted by the city attorney and the city attorney be authorized to prepare the appropriate documentation for council approval. Furthermore, in the interest of starting the project as soon as possible, the committee recommends that the council suspend with the rules, allow approval of said documents at the same meeting. signed by Marty Deuter, Vice Chairman, Patrick Wagner, and Michael J. Brand, unsigned by Jim Kennedy, Chairman.
Okay, to put this before council, I'll ask for a motion to approve the report and recommendation as read. Motion by Alderman Kennedy, second by Alderman Deuter.
Perhaps a point of order, if I can.
Yes.
I think the draft that was just read by the clerk might have been an old draft.
Okay.
The report before us
That's what my
tonight.
confusion. So I'm going to give her the copy I had. I thought mine was an older copy.
All right.
So, hold on.
Thank you.
Clerk Spencer, give me a
Okay.
minute. Wait. I'd ask Alderman Kennedy and Alderman Deuter withdraw their motions. Okay, let's start this over.
Oh,
7.8, Clerk Spencer, could you read the recommendation, please?
It is therefore the recommendation of the Public Works and Buildings Committee that the total unit bid price from Martin Construction, Inc. in the amount of $2,285,455.50 be accepted, and the city attorney be authorized to prepare the appropriate documentation for council approval. Respectfully submitted, Public Works and Buildings Committee. Signed by Marty Deuter, Vice Chair, Michael J. Bram, Patrick Wagner, and unsigned by Jim Kennedy, Chairman.
Okay, to put this before council, I'll ask for a motion to approve the report and that recommendation as read. Motion by Alderman Kennedy, second by Alderman Deuter. Alderman Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Since I was not on at the last Public Works and Buildings Committee meeting, I will defer to Alderman Deuter, who chaired that meeting.
Okay, Alderman Deuter, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. So the report before us tonight is a recommendation to accept the lowest bid for the Madison Early Childhood Stormwater Project. The project will provide relief to 63 homes in the Washington Street area by providing 6 acre-feet of stormwater storage. The lowest bidder was Martam, and as the clerk said, it's a $2.3 million bid. We are looking to have this report approved tonight. It was originally scheduled, or we were originally going to request to suspend the rules so that both the report and the resolution accepting the bid would be approved tonight. The reason I wanted it pulled is just to explain why we are not looking for that final approval, which we will hopefully come back for in 3 weeks. We have, in this case for this project, we have an IGA that has been approved by City Council, and it has also been approved by the school board. The IGA has not yet been executed, and we wanted to make sure that all the details of that are worked out before we move forward on accepting the bid. So as much as this is a high priority project, and it's, we believe it's in our interest to move this forward as quickly as possible, we did not want to suspend the rules to get the final approval tonight.
Okay. Any other additional comments or questions as it relates to this? Alderman Bram.
Thank you. I just want to add to that, and it's stated clearly in the report, but for the public as well as the school board members, in this report it specifically says, due to the concerns that the school board has voiced publicly about this project possibly disrupting school while in session, that we did make specific stipulations in here in the report stating that it may be necessary to work on Saturdays and/or weeknights when it does come to some of the entrances and exits along this project area. So I just want to make that public, that we have heard the concerns of the school board, and even in the report, we're stipulating that we are willing to accommodate as I just stated.
Okay, any additional comments? Seeing none, I'll ask Clerk Spencer to call the roll.
York. Toledo.
Aye.
Keeley.
Aye.
Levin.
Aye.
Kennedy.
Aye.
Honquist.
Aye.
Wagner.
Aye.
Mulliner.
Aye.
Deuter.
Aye.
Sabatino.
Aye.
Leader.
Aye.
Dunn.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Polumsky absent. 13 ayes, 0 nays, 1 absent.
Okay, sorry. Very good. To put this before council, I'll ask for a motion to approve the report and recommendation as read. Motion by Alderman Kennedy, second by Alderman Deuter. Alderman Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, I was not at the meeting, so I'll defer to Alderman Deuter, who was the chair of that meeting.
Alderman Deuter, the floor is yours.
Thank you. This, again, is a report to accept the bid, the lowest of 7 bids on the Crescent Avenue, Cambridge Avenue Stormwater Improvement Project. This will provide relief to 38 homes in the Crescent Avenue area and will have 10.83 acre feet of stormwater in York Commons Park. There is an alternative 1 and an alternative 2. Those 2 alternatives do not change the actual project itself and where and how that water will be held. The 2 alternatives talk about different points of access from the Crescent Avenue area into the park. This report is recommending that we accept Swallow's bid for alternate 2, which is $2.1 million.
Okay. Apparently while I was shuffling my papers, I was distracted and I jumped to the motion without having Clerk Spencer read the recommendation. So with council indulgence, I'm just going to have her read it into the record. I'm not going to ask for a withdrawal and a restatement of the motion. But Clerk Spencer, for the record, could you please read the last paragraph of the report, which is the recommendation?
It is therefore the recommendation of the Public Works and Buildings Committee that the total unit price bid for alternate 2 from Swallow Sewer and Water Construction in the amount of $2,108,151.25 be accepted, and the city attorney be authorized to prepare the appropriate documentation for council approval. Read the furthermore, right? Furthermore, in the interest of starting the project as soon as possible, the committee recommends that the council suspend with the rules, allow approval of said documents at the same meeting. Signed by Marty Deuter, Vice Chairman, Patrick Wagner, and Michael J. Bram. Unsigned by Jim Kennedy, Chairman.
Okay. Sorry for that hiccup there. Alderman Deuter, were you finished or do you want to add a little more?
I do want to just clarify on the request for suspending the rules to have the final approval also happen tonight. You know, there are, at our committee meeting last Friday, there were 4 projects we looked at where we went out for bid. 3 of those projects were requesting the suspension of rules, and that's to move the projects forward as quickly as possible. This project, as well as the other 2, were part of the Burke report, the 2012 Burke report. They were posted on the committee's agenda for the meeting last Monday, which had to be canceled at the last meeting because we did not have quorum. We rescheduled for Friday so that we could keep these projects moving. And again, we're looking for that suspension of rules to continue moving these projects.
Okay. Any additional comments? Alderman Dunn?
Just a question on the benefit for alternate 2 and lower easement acquisition costs. Can you elaborate on the savings for those? You know,
One second. Okay, sorry. Alderman Deuter.
Yes, so the report as the Burke's drawing is initially anticipated 1 point of entry to go under the tracks and enter the stormwater storage area, the project area. Conversations were taking place in both cases, both alternate 1 and alternate 2. We are going through private property. The original access point conversations were a little more complicated, and the price that was being discussed to use that, to get that easement to move through that property was much higher, and it was high. And so we're looking at, city staff moved forward and looking at a alternate site for that point of access, was able to reach a much lower price point for that easement. So we're working with a private property owner on that access point.
And
difference in cost is for those 2 discussions. And at the time when we put the project out for bid, was not yet decided which project, so they put them both out to bid again so we could keep the projects rolling while we were trying to work out either of these easements.
I would also add a point of clarification as it relates to alternate, are we calling alternate 1? Alternate 1 and alternate 2, is that this project obviously helps the folks on Crescent, east of York, those homes that back up to the tracks and then back up to the park. And the only difference between alternate 1 and alternate 2 is we were going to go tunnel underneath the tracks one way or the other. And the initial plan to tunnel under the tracks didn't work at this one location, and actually, the alternate 2 actually shortens the pipe. We're actually going in under the tracks a couple houses further west than we thought we were gonna. Still gonna attach into the same line as originally proposed to the Park District, but it's a little bit shorter than that. There's no substantive change to the project itself. Okay. Any other comments or questions? I'm sorry, Alderman Bram.
Thank you. I didn't think you would pass me by since I'm the one who pulled this one. I just wanted to comment a few things on this, even though I was in the discussion with the committee. The first thing and foremost, I think, a park board member came tonight and spoke about his at least concerns as a park board member about this report, so I wanted to speak to it publicly. My understanding on the report, yes, we're considering alternate 1 and alternate 2. It seems like alternate 2 will be the best way to move forward, and I think the city believes that the higher probability is in alternate 2, at least that's what I took from our discussion in that committee. But if alternate 2 does not work out, then alternate 1 is a lower bid amount, and therefore we are approving a dollar amount that is higher. So therefore, we would still be moving forward with alternate 1. But the concern I took from the comment by the park board member was in regards to their knowledge of both alternates. I just want to ask the question to City Manager Grabowski, making sure that the Park District has been in lockstep with both of these alternates and we're all on the same page on this one.
Yeah, City Manager.
We have been in contact with the Park District staff regarding this alternative, and they understand exactly what we're doing.
Great, that's good to hear. The other comment, and it was already mentioned by Alderman Deuter, I vocalized my, I guess, for lack of a better word, displeasure of suspending of rules and doing a report and or ordinance/resolution at the same time. But I have said this also in the past. Even though I don't like it, I do think that only when it's absolutely necessary, we should do it. And in this case, because of the fact, city staff has told us that if this doesn't move forward in this fashion for these 3 bids, then the project would be delayed. So I'm taking the response from the city staff saying that if we don't do both tonight, then we would delay the project. And I don't want to penalize the residents for, our inability to get things approved in a timely fashion. Alderman Wagner just pointed out, and it's a very good one, it would even be longer duration because we have a 5th Monday coming up and we typically don't meet on a 5th Monday. So if we didn't do both tonight, it would be even a longer delay. So I think in this case, it is very important to suspend the rules to take care of the report and the resolution.
Okay, any additional comments? Seeing none, I will ask Clerk Spencer to call the vote.
York.
Aye.
Toledo.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Levin.
Aye.
Kennedy.
Aye.
Honquist.
Aye.
Wagner.
Aye.
Mulliner.
Aye.
Deuter.
Aye.
Sabatino.
Aye.
Leader.
Aye.
Dunn.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Polumsky absent. 13 ayes, 0 nays, 1 absent.
13 ayes, 0 nays, motion carries. Agenda item 7.9 is approved. On to agenda item 7.10. Clerk Spencer, I'd ask that you read the recommendation.
It is therefore the recommendation of the Public Affairs and Safety Committee that the City Council allow Elmhurst College to establish a apiary. I didn't practice that word. Apiary. The committee recommends the city attorney be authorized to prepare the necessary documents for city council approval. Signed by Chris Healy, Chairman, Danny Polumsky, Vice Chairman, Norm Leader.
Okay, to put this before council, I'll ask for a motion to approve. The report and recommendation is read. Motion by Alderman Healy, second by Alderman Leader. Alderman Leader. Alderman Healy, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. I pulled this for one reason. Also on tonight's consent agenda 7.15, we approved what I'll call the process by which a high school or college entity could apply for a beekeeping license. So I was thinking about it, looking at the consent agenda, that if I left this on the consent agenda, we would have been approving the Elmhurst College application on the same consent agenda that we approved the process. So I just thought it'd be smart to pull this off, approve the process, then come back and approve the application for Elmhurst College. As council might remember, it was the college that sort of initiated this process. Alderman Deuter was fairly active in getting this before us. The college would like to get going with a hive as quickly as possible. They're up against some timing deadlines for a grant application that I believe is sometime in October. So we were moving fairly quickly on this, the whole time intending to get Elmhurst College to the point where they could apply. So just for appearance's sake, I wanted to pull it off the consent agenda. Now that we've approved the ordinance allowing for the application of beehives, I'd ask that you support the report approving Elmhurst College's application under that now approved process. Thank you.
Okay. Any additional comments or questions as it relates to this report? Alderman Levin.
Just so I understand the process, and Chairman Healy explained it, but does each, I saw that there was this ordinance that adopts the process, but each time a college or high school applies for a license, it comes before the city council as opposed to the city manager?
Alderman Healy? The process is that they need to follow a certain process, that they have to get Department of Agriculture approval. They've got to come before the Public Affairs and Safety Committee, to vet the project. And then ultimately, yes, they would have to come before the council for final approval. I believe that's the case. Yes. Yes.
All right.
Jim, do you agree with that?
Thank you.
Just double checking on that. Yeah?
I didn't see that in that process.
Or is it city manager? Maybe it's just city manager.
Well, we're looking at the ordinance, I think, right now.
It's,
They definitely have to go before the committee.
5129B2 is what I was looking at.
It's to be an administrative approval by me.
Okay, administrative approval.
Why are we doing this before?
To change the license. Oh.
1 second. Don. Here's a report, Don.
Yeah, it doesn't. In deference to Alderman Levin, there is a procedure in the code, I don't have it in front of me right now, but it provides for a license to be issued. I think in this situation, we thought it would be prudent to bring it before the council. If we've belt and suspended it, so be it, but it won't harm to approve the request of the college.
Okay. Any additional comments or questions? Seeing none, I'll ask Clerk Spencer to call the roll, call the vote.
York.
Aye.
Toledo.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Levin.
Aye.
Kennedy.
Aye.
Conquist.
Aye.
Wagner.
Aye.
Mulliner.
Aye.
Deuter.
Aye.
Sabatino.
Aye.
Leader.
Aye.
Dunn.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Polumsky, absent. 13 ayes, 0 nays, 1 absent.
13 ayes, 0 nays. Motion carries. 7.10 is approved. On to 7.12. This is a report out of Public Affairs. I would ask that Clerk Spencer please read the recommendation.
It is therefore the recommendation of the Public Affairs and Safety Committee that the City Council approve the expenditure of $50,000 from line item 110-009-454-6098 to the Elmhurst American Legion THB Post 187 to host a military ball on September 10, 2016, and a Thanksgiving dinner on November 24, 2016. Signed by Chris Healy, Chairman, Danny Polomsky, Vice Chairman, Norm Leader.
Okay, to put this before council, I'll ask for a motion to approve. The report and recommendation is read. Motion by Alderman Healy, second by Alderman Leader. Alderman Healy, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. This has been an interesting subject that the Public Affairs and Safety Committee has been looking at, has looked at over several meetings. As council will recall, this issue first really came up a year ago, a little over a year ago, when the whole topic of video gaming in Elmhurst surfaced. The referral at that time was to allow video gaming in Elmhurst specifically for the Legion. Legion at that point expressed that they were in need of financial help, that for various reasons their ability to serve the city of Elmhurst and the veterans of the city of Elmhurst and the area was being diminished because of some revenue stream issues. So there was a thought, and I believe it was Alderman Mulliner and Alderman Leader put forth a referral on video gaming. And we all recall what we did there. We did not allow video gaming for anybody in Elmhurst. Next time this issue came up was during budget conversations for this year's budget. At that point, a motion was made again, I believe, by Alderman Mulliner and Alderman Leader to add $50,000 to this year's budget. The conversation on the dais at budget time was, you know, how would the process work, because this was outside of the process. And granted, this entire situation has been outside the process, but there was conversation at budget time, how would this work? And at that time, it was stated that when time came to hand out or give the Legion the $50,000, that it would be vetted before a committee. That committee was most likely the Public Affairs and Safety Committee. At that point, the motion to add $50,000 to the budget under the community grant section as its own line item for the American Legion passed unanimously, and that money was placed into the budget. And then subsequently, about 2 months ago, Alderman Leader and Alderman Mulliner put forth another referral for which that $50,000 would be allocated in two ways. One way would be in support of the military ball that is a first-time event for the Legion that will occur next month. And then the second event would be in support of the annual Thanksgiving Day event, whereby the American Legion and its members host upwards of 250, 300 naval recruits from the Glenview Naval, the naval base, the Naval Training Center up in Glenview. So over the last few meetings, the committee has looked into it extensively. At our first meeting, we had a discussion, since this was new, this was outside of the traditional community grant process. There was conversation on how we would proceed. At that point, we as a committee felt it would be best if the Legion filled out a modified community grant application so that we had some sort of guidepost to lead us on the conversation on the hows, the whats, the wheres, and the whys. And I'll say that the Legion bent over backwards. Commander Scudder, Mr. Shanklin have been very instrumental. They have given us every piece of information we could have asked for. They opened their books to us. Our financial people, Director Trezine and others, got a firsthand look at their books and were able to glean some information that the committee found very helpful. I mention that because in conversations with a couple aldermen or some correspondence, it was, you know, well, why did the Legion do it this way, or why did the Legion ask for the money in this way? It's important to note, the Legion has not asked us for anything. The Legion has never made an official request per se. It was aldermanic action that put this before the committee, and in response to the committee's request to fill out a grant application, the Legion supplied the information to us. So I want to make that point. It's a small point, but it's an important point, that we're here because of aldermanic action, not because the Legion came to us saying, hey, can we have $50,000? At no point that ever occurred. We as a committee discussed and discussed with the Legion what their intention for the money is, how would they, how would they use the funds. During during that conversation, we learned that the Legion really is two entities. There is a quote-unquote for-profit building corporation that owns the building, operates the bar, et cetera, and then there is the 501c3 Legion part of it, the part that we all know that does a community service, that provides scholarships, services for the veterans, et cetera. The corporation is owned by the members of the Legion, so there is no outside entity that's making money off the Legion. The money that is raised at the bars and the bar and the banquet facility is then transferred, moved to the 501c3 side that allows the Legion to do its to do the activities that we all know. What we found during the process, and our financial people saw it, is that the revenue coming from the corporation side to the for-profit side has been shrinking every year because the revenues have been shrinking. We also learned during the process that the Legion would like to spend some money to improve their infrastructure, improve the banquet hall, and improve some outside signage, improve their membership outreach and how they contact, social media, et cetera. And we as an entity could not give money directly to the corporation side. So then we went back to the original intent of the referral, and have recommended that we support both activities, that both activities bring value to the city of Elmhurst, position Elmhurst as friendly to veterans, friendly to our American Legion, has public value, certainly that the services and benefits that the Legion provides to the greater community of Elmhurst are worthy of support. So we agreed that the referral made sense, that the support of both events to give them the money made sense, and what's before you now is the ability to say yes to supporting the American Legion and our veterans in town.
Okay, Alderman Leader.
My friends, for you are all my friends, all of you. Over the last 10 years, the City of Elmhurst Community Grant Program has distributed some $470,000 to the Art Museum, $390,000 to the Elmhurst Symphony, $155,000 to the Lizadro Museum, and $140,000 to the St. Patrick's Day Parade. 3 of these grants were for $40,000, 4 grants were for $50,000, 2 grants exceeded $60,000, 1 grant was for $75,000, including grants to other entities. The total distributed since 2005 amounts to just short of $1.7 million. All of this was done with a minimum of debate and soul searching. This matter of giving financial aid to the American Legion has been before us for over 9 months. Tonight, the Public Affairs and Safety Committee is requesting some $50,000 for the Elmhurst American Legion Post 187. So, I ask, why is this night different from any other night? Why is this Elmhurst charitable organization so different from Elmhurst charitable organizations which we have so generously and properly supported for the last 10 years? It is different because this charitable organization is the only one in which every member took a solemn and unbreakable oath to protect, at whatever cost of life or limb, you and your loved ones. Due to natural attrition, the end of compulsory military service 43 years ago, and a shrinking pool of younger veterans, the financial burden of aiding those in need is becoming unsupportable. That is a simple reality. I spent 35 years in the business world as an owner, partner, or senior manager. I believe it is a misnomer to apply middle manager, hardline, financial realities to a charitable, nonprofit organization such as the Legion. Thank goodness that those who have served our country and are serving it now didn't demand a profit and loss statement before putting their lives in the line for us. Worthy organizations such as symphonies, museums, even hospitals cannot survive without generous charity. And when they close their doors, who will assume the burden? Who will help the veterans who are homeless? Who will help veterans in financial need? Who will help the veterans dying even without a grave? Who will make a Thanksgiving Day celebration for 200 lonely Navy boot camp trainees? Who will give out tens of thousands of dollars in scholarships to deserving students? Who? Most importantly, who will give life-sustaining succor to the veterans suffering from the horrors of post-traumatic stress disorder? Every day in America, 22 veterans commit suicide as a result of post-traumatic stress disorder. The Legion, uniquely in Elmhurst, does all in its power to bring aid, comfort, and hope to those in the implacable grasp of this terrible private hell. And yes, they lose money doing it. It is a sad truth that sometimes only veterans can understand and help other veterans. So I say again, who will help those who gave so much for you? Last winter, all of us sitting here tonight freely and generously voted to give the Elmhurst American Legion $50,000. The money is in the budget. Does it really matter what pocket we give it out of? We gave our word. All of us gave our word. Are we to break it? Which side are you on? To vote no is to effectively end the Elmhurst American Legion's noble mission of helping those in need. Be honest with yourself. Dare we reject this and break the hearts of the veterans, their families, and their friends? Dare we break the heart of Elmhurst? I love Elmhurst. I love my fellow veterans. I love the Elmhurst City Council, all of you. There are some who believe the council is suffering from hardening of the heart. I say that our city is alive, generous, and human, and we will prove it tonight. We fight to retain a great past for the Legion, and we fight to gain an even greater future. So I ask you, then, did dearly beloved members of your family serve? Are they serving now? For in every family, there are those who served and sacrificed. That is why we live in a free country. Did they stand in defense of the Republic? Did they fight in America's wars? Were they soldiers and brave? Then honor and respect them by voting yes. At this moment, I hear once again the oddly poetic refrain of the rangemaster before each company opened fire on the rifle range. Long ago, oh, so long ago, ready on the right, ready on the left, already on the firing line. The flag is up, the flag is waving, the flag is down. My friends, it is time to take your place in the line. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Leader. Alderman Mulliner?
It's almost impossible to follow Alderman Leader. It is impossible to follow him. All I can say is that I had never had the honor of serving this country in the way that the veterans have, and I know Alderman Leader has, and I believe he's the only one on the council at this point who's had that opportunity to serve this great nation that we have. And I feel that the only way that I can help is to do whatever I can to make sure that those veterans who are out there have the resources that they need. And one of the resources and the greatest resource that we have remaining in the city of Elmhurst is the American Legion. And that's why Alderman Leader and I put forth this motion to move this forward so that we could actually try to assist them. A number of years ago, probably before a lot of you remember this, we lost our VFW. It ended up having to join with the Villa Park VFW. And I've considered that, since that day, a huge loss to the city of Elmhurst. It's an embarrassment that we had to lose our VFW. And I don't want to see that happen with our American Legion. Our American Legion needs to stay here and stay strong, and we have the opportunity to assist them and make sure that they have all the resources that they need to provide the materials and the support that they provide to all of the veterans. And I salute them for their work, and I ask for your positive vote on this motion.
Okay, additional comments. Alderman Levin.
Question and some comments. Is this proposed grant a one-time grant, or is this something that is expected to be repeated in subsequent years?
You want that answer first before you continue?
Yes.
Okay. Alderman Healy, was that discussed during your committee?
It was, Mayor. And the Legion has not given any indication that they intend to either apply through the community grant process every year. And I've been asked that same question by a few aldermen, and my response to the aldermen that have asked has been the same. The money was put into the budget with aldermanic action. The money is being proposed to be spent by aldermanic action. I would assume, and I've not even talked to city manager about this as we start the budgeting process for 2017. I would assume the money will be put into the budget for 2017 because it's in the budget this year. But that's an assumption that the council can take up when we start talking about 2017, whether it's in the budget and we want to take it out, or if staff leaves it out of the budget and aldermanic action wants to put it back in. I would suspect that it would follow the same process again next year if that were the will of the council.
Let me ask just for a clarification. So it was discussed, but no decision was made during your committee meeting whether or not this would be an annual expense or an annual outlay.
Correct, because there was nothing before the committee nor now that led us to believe or indicated that it would be annual, or that this is something that's expected on an annual basis. No, it was not. There was no decision made because there was no request to make it annual. It was, do we want to do it for these two events this year?
Okay, Alderman Levin, I'll turn the floor back over to you.
Thank you. I have some concerns about the process. It's not for lack of support of the Legion or the fine work they do. I might have been one of the unsuccessful few votes. I was one of the unsuccessful few votes to offer video gaming. I certainly talked with the people at the Legion about making some commitment to provide some financial assistance. But I view the process as different than what has been described. There was a last-minute motion to add $50,000 to the budget with the idea that it would be set aside for use for looking at what the Legion might want to do or how we might assist. I do not recall that, and I'm sure it's on tape, so if I'm wrong, but my recollection is that it was not, we're giving $50,000 to the Legion, we're putting money in the budget. And just like any other item, when we put it in the budget, it's not spent, it's available. And I do also recall, and I think I wanted to make sure it had a review process and it was going to be similar to the community grant process, and public safety is the committee to do that. Now, I think Alderman Leader could speak in favor of anything, no matter how hideous, and I'd want to vote for it because he's a very eloquent speaker. And again, I think I have a father and both my uncles, they were all World War II veterans, and we've talked about that, so it's not for lack of supporting the veterans. But we set aside $50,000 on a last-minute addition to the budget, and it wasn't even clear, I have my notes from the budget, what line it was going to go into. It was originally scheduled for community grant, and it wound up going into other expenses. And part of the reason is because it is different. And so when Alderman Leader refers to all the other monies that have been spent, there's a reason, because those come out of a tax, a hotel tax that's used, and most of the things support some sort of tourism effort, and that's why they're funded that way, such as the symphony, the museums, the Chamber of Commerce puts on a parade. There's some that aren't, but I'm just saying that's one of the differences. My feeling was that, and as I read the report, it says, the referral was different, I think, than, it wasn't for two $25,000 grants, so we had this money set aside for something, and we were going to talk with the Legion about how we might be able to help. And then in May, it was Alderman Mulliner Leader asked to provide funds in support of the military ball and the Thanksgiving Day event. And I would assume at that point, if that's what the request was, there'd be a review of what was needed and not a complete funding of the Thanksgiving Day ball, or not necessarily funding a military ball that has never been done before. So that's not quite accurate that we voted for the money, $50,000 to give to them. It's not accurate to say there was a referral to give them two $25,000 grants. So what I would have hoped would have happened would be that we would look at it and say, and I think I understand what Alderman Healy said, that there's some other expenses, and so if we fund this, that frees up expenses to do other things, but I would have liked to have known what those were. And no matter, there are many important, great causes, and none I'm not ranking them, not putting any above the Legion. But we have the duties of the city council to look at what we are spending and how we're spending it and to make sure it's appropriate. I can come up with some other causes that would, I'm sure, endear themselves to you, you could not speak against. So I'm disappointed in the process. I'm not disappointed in the American Legion. I don't think it's accurate to say they didn't ask for some help, that we just came up with the idea of, or I don't know how these two aldermen would know, to fund an American Legion military ball that's never been done before. So I'm disappointed in the process because I would have liked to look at it more carefully and say, what are we funding, just like we do with every other dollar we spend in the city council. Now, I'm not trying to take an unpopular position. I mean, who wants to speak against the American flag? I'm not. But we have a process. We also took another oath to act in the best interest in the city. And I'm sure all of us campaigned and said, I will spend every dollar like it's mine. I always hear that. And over time, $50,000 is bigger than any community grant we've done in years. I look at what we're doing right now. The Symphony got a special one for $25,000, the Art Museum 20, so it's more than double any other grant. Okay, that's all being said. The ball is advertised. In a way, I say the horse is out of the barn, but I feel like the process needs to be spoken to here, and I want my constituents to know that I will look at every dollar, and I want to know how it's going to be spent, and I want to have that information readily available. And I did ask the chairman if this was going to be an annual request, and I thought the answer was going to be no, this is a one-shot deal to help take care of some of the expenditures, and now I'm hearing it's going to be opened up potentially again, and I will look at it more closely then. I will vote to support this tonight, but I will not make this, if it comes before the council again on a $50,000, we're going to throw it in the budget. I either want to have some commitment right then that that's just a budget item, or I want to know what we're spending on so it's not an open-ended checkbook that we decide to give someone money when we don't even know what it's going to be used for. It could be the best cause in the world, and this is a good example, and that's not good budgeting. That's not good oversight of public funds.
Okay, anyone else wish to comment? Alderman Bram.
Thank you. I didn't plan on speaking to this tonight, but I share the same concerns as Alderman Levin in regards to the process. I was disappointed to hear and read in the report, at least inferring in the report, it's in the budget, it was approved unanimously in the budget, and therefore we should move forward. You know, I hear the argument all the time, and I hear it on both sides, and the budget is just that. It's a planning document. To infer that because it's in the budget that we're moving forward for the way it was decided upon in this instance for the American Legion, which was a referral pretty much stating on what was believed to be the appropriate way to utilize those dollars, I think is wrong when it comes to a process standpoint. And I don't think it's right to put the fellow city council members in the position to say, you approve the budget and therefore this is moving forward. It's not about the American Legion. I wholeheartedly support the American Legion. Anytime I see a veteran with a hat on from whatever operation they participated in, I take the time out to step aside and thank them for their effort. I was not in the armed services, and to my knowledge, none of my family members were either. But I do respect and appreciate those who did serve and sacrifice for myself and others. But I also do need to state that the process here, I don't think, was taken in the right direction for this. I am going to support this wholeheartedly. I think that the end game here in paying for these two events, offsetting costs for operations, will reach the goal that the American Legion has spoken at in public hearings here about their concern about needing to close down the American Legion building, joining with another post, etc. So I think the end game, you know, that same destination point, we're going to hit it right on target. But the process to get there, I think, was a little muddied, and I have the same concerns that Alderman Levin had.
Okay, anyone else who has an opportunity to speak, wish to speak at this time? Okay, second round, Alderman Healy.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to address a few of the issues. A couple aldermen, and by the way, my answer was very consistent every time I was asked about, is this an annual thing? Very consistent. Everybody who asked got the same answer. We don't know what's going to happen next year until the budget process and then any potential vetting process. Other common question for aldermen is, well, where do we draw the line? Where do we draw the line? Because the Knights of Columbus, great organization. Alderman York talked about ECAF, great organization. To me, and I've given the same answer every time I've been asked this question, to me there's a clear line between the American Legion and any other 501c3 charitable organization in town. Clear line. That's my opinion, and I appreciate and respect that others may not follow it or agree with it. But to me, there's a clear line there. And if you think about it, we support many, 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 many charitable organizations in town, whether it's through direct grants, as Alderman Leader pointed out, whether it's through in-kind support of police protection, fire protection, public works, you know, the parade comes to mind, all of the various 5K runs that we have in town. That's support for charitable organizations. I don't recall too many incidents or too many episodes where we've told a charitable organization no. Granted, $50,000 is a big chunk of money, but the services and the value that the American Legion provide to Elmhurst are worth it. The process. So, you know, we've heard a couple of aldermen talk about the process. Nothing has been more transparent than this process. What one alderman deems as last minute, other alderman looks at as part of the process. When we're budgeting, that's the time to add money or line items to the budget. Would it have been better if we did that at the start of the budget process so that it wasn't last minute? I'm not sure I'm aware of the definition of last minute, other than it was during the budget process in an open session and all aldermen voted on it. If you're not happy with the timing of that, I respect the opinion. I don't agree with it. In regards to the actual Legion grant, if you want to call it that, just this year, the Public Affairs and Safety Committee started vetting community grants. Previous to that, it was done through finance with a I'll call it an ad hoc committee, committee of staff members that vetted all of the applications. That then went to finance, and it was agreed upon, and then, you know, in some cases they were discussed individually, but in most cases it was, yeah, list looks good, and move on. Just this year, we changed the process to bring that through Public Affairs and Safety so that we could do a more thorough vetting of each application. And we did that to some degree this year. There were a couple of grant applications that the committee, our committee, said, you know what, we'd like a little more information next year, or we'd like a follow-up report from that particular grant recipient next year so that we see how the money was spent. Point here is, this committee spent more time on the American Legion grant application, the referral, than any other community grant application since I've been on the council. On top of that, and Deputy Chief Anishevitz and Communication Manager Schreff, Cassandra Schreff, did a heck of a job working with the American Legion. We got more information from the Legion than we did any other community grant applicant. They bent over backwards. They opened their books to us. The committee got to review all of that and discuss all of that. So I understand that some might not be happy with the process, but my experience with 15, 16 members of the council, and somebody's always going to be unhappy with the process. But the reality of the situation is, the end of the day, the report suggests we give $50,000 to the American Legion. Do you support that or not? You might not be happy with how the committee got to their answer of yes, so be it. Process can always be improved. That's like saying I could have bought a car a little bit cheaper or bought my house a little bit cheaper. You can always improve something. But it was thorough, it was transparent, and it got us to a place where we're saying yes to giving the American Legion $50,000. So if you disagree with that, which is your right, and I respect that, Disagree with it because you don't agree with giving the Legion the money. Don't disagree with it because of the process. Thank you.
Alderman Deuter?
Thank you, Mayor. You know, I share some of the concerns that have been raised about the process. And in hearing some of the comments tonight, it strikes me that we do have a process to evaluate these grants to community organizations, regardless of their purpose or mission. And as we think about the future and what's going to be in the budget for, next year for spending, and how if the Legion is interested in subsequent grants after tonight, I would hope that they might consider following that process. And I would, assume that staff is evaluating what should the amount be for the community grant budget line item, but we have a process for evaluating these grants. This one was outside of it, but in the future, it seems to me it would be reasonable to have an application and to have the process to evaluate that application just like we do with other community grants.
Alderman Dunn?
I want to start out by saying that I am going to support this. What Alderman Healy had mentioned, are we supporting $50,000 for the American Legion? I think the answer is yes this evening. I know that there's not many folks up here that have military experience. Alderman Leader is the only one. I worked for the Navy for 7 years. I worked hand in hand with both enlisted and officers, so I kind of know the environment, and I've been to my share of events, military events at the Officers Club and various other locations. So I will support this. I have some concerns regarding the financials for it. The first event, the ball, is a $33,000 event. We have 165 people there. That's $205 per person. That's a fairly elaborate event. And then what it comes down to is the event costs $33,000 from what I could pull out of the budget. And the money generated is about $21,000 through ticket sales. So the city's funding the event for $33,000, and the people that are attending are paying $21,000. That's going into a reserve fund, I assume, to help the Legion. The other event, the Thanksgiving event, is close to $19,000. I'm told it was about $8,000 last year, so I'm not sure why it increased so much. But you have 200 recruits you're bringing in. It's $100 per recruit at that expenditure level. Again, that's fairly elaborate, so I have concerns. I'd like to make sure that not only the council's being diligent with their expenditures, but those we are partnering with and providing funding, that they're being very diligent, that they're utilizing volunteer work where they can in these events. It might be buried in here, but I don't see it in the budget. And trying to work with the community for in-kind donations to help offset some of these expenses. So have concerns about the cost for these events, the number of people that are impacted by it, but in the end, I will support it. Thanks.
Alderman Mulliner.
Just to follow up, I want to make sure that everybody understands that the American Legion has been working very hard on all of these projects, and I want to make sure that they understand that there's been a large number of community organizations that have stepped up, and different businesses that have stepped up, and individuals who have stepped up to assist them. They're trying to do all of these projects as cost effectively as they can, and we're trying to assist them, and that's what it really comes down to. It's not just us doing it. If you went and talked to them, you're going to find out that there's a number of different organizations that have been out there that have been assisting them and helping them to put these things together. I know a number of the aldermen who've been over there talking with them and assisting them and helping them to identify ways to find cost savings in their operations, as well as how to run these the most effective way possible. I always take the step back, and I always kind of question in my own mind, how can I challenge somebody who's from the military on whether or not they know how to run something efficiently? They seem to do a pretty good job of running things efficiently as far as I'm concerned. And they sure know how to find money from different organizations, because I know a number of them who've stepped up to the plate and are assisting with this project. So I still, once again, ask for your support on this. I truly believe that the process was very transparent, and I really appreciate the way that the Public Safety Committee handled this.
Okay, any additional comments? Alderman Levin.
I'm going to vote on this, but as it's been presented, we've been given a budget for a ball and a Thanksgiving dinner, which the Legion's always paid for. We're going to pay twice what the Thanksgiving dinner was last year. We don't know why. We're paying for a ball that the proceeds are all going to go somewhere else. So although I'm going to support it, I can't sit here and say the process is transparent, because I have no idea where the money's really going to go. And when someone else comes in, if it's the Elmhurst Art Museum, I'll see a budget, and I'll see how much they make, and I see what the shortfall is. I know what we're funding. So if this comes up next year, then I'll want to see some real transparency. So when someone stops me on the street and says, you gave a $50,000 grant, what's it for? I won't have to say, well, we're paying for something, so something else that I don't know about is getting paid for. And if we did a better job here, we wouldn't have to be answering these questions now.
Okay, any other comments? Clerk Spencer asks you to call the vote.
York.
Aye.
Toledo.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Levin.
Aye.
Kennedy.
Aye.
Conquist.
Aye.
Wagner.
Aye.
Mulliner.
Aye.
Deuter.
Aye.
Sabatino.
Aye.
Leader.
Aye.
Dunn.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Polumsky, absent. 13 ayes, 0 nays, 1 absent.
13 ayes, 0 nays, motion carries. Agenda item 7.12 is approved. On to agenda item 7.14. 7.14, is that right? Yes, that's an ordinance. Clerk Spencer, I'd ask that you read the ordinance.
An ordinance amending section 44.122 entitled Limited Parking Zones Enumerated of Chapter 44 entitled Motor Vehicles and Traffic of the City of Elmhurst Municipal Code.
Okay, to put this before council, I'll ask for a motion to approve the ordinance as read. Motion by Alderman Healy, second by Alderman Levin.
We'll agree on 2 things.
Alderman Healy, this is a ordinance that generated out of your committee, I believe.
It is, parking restrictions on Mitchell, report passed last week, or last meeting, is what it is.
Okay, that's pretty concise. Alderman Brand, did you pull this?
Sure.
Okay, you heard, it is what it is.
I'll try to be as concise. I didn't vote for it 2 weeks ago. It was stated multiple times during that discussion that there's no safety issue here. Therefore, I feel that it should be the least restrictive case, which was not part of the survey, which would have been 2-hour parking on just one side of Mitchell for these 2 blocks. The survey wasn't sent with that option, therefore there is no recommendation for that option, and we're moving what I deem to be at least a more restrictive alternative for these 2 blocks. And I'll just state one last time, it's a public street. If there's was a severe safety concern, I would agree with this report recommendation, but it was stated by the committee that there is no safety concern, so I think we should have went the least restrictive way.
Okay. Any additional comments or questions? Seeing none, I'll ask Clerk Spencer to please call the vote.
York.
Aye.
Toledo.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Levin.
Aye.
Kennedy.
Aye.
Conquest.
Aye.
Wagner.
Aye.
Mulliner.
Aye.
Deuter.
Aye.
Sabatino.
Aye.
Leader.
Aye.
Dunn.
Aye.
Graham.
No.
Palumski, absent. 12 ayes, 1 nay, 1 absent.
12 ayes, 1 nay, motion carries. Agenda item 7.14 is approved. On to agenda item 8, reports and recommendations of appointed elected officials. 8.1, Mayor Morley, that's me. 2 quick updates. One is this Thursday, there is an open house here. In fact, we had one last Thursday, right, for Golden Meadows? Okay, so in our ongoing efforts for stormwater mitigation, we have another open house. This is for the Harrison Street project. It's this Thursday from 4 to 7, is that right? That is and you can go on to our elmhurst.stormwaterplan.org, is that right? That's our website when you can get the details on this, but this is Harrison Street project. It's in the Yorkfield subdivision east of York. Anyway, the open house for residents is this Thursday, 4 to 7 here at City Hall. Then the only other report I have to mention is that I have been meeting periodically with Kathy Jordan and an ad hoc committee out of the Senior Commission. I think she has 4 people, and their names escape me right now. But they have been kind of beating the drum a little bit and pushing as the city considers developments in town, whether it be a new sports complex or what have you, the need for a senior center. And I've been meeting with Kathy Jordan probably once every 6 months or so, or have a conversation with her about this. And I will say this, I had the opportunity, Kathy Jordan, she's the, I believe she's chairman of our senior commission, holds that title, and the commission. I had the opportunity to tour the Glendale Heights, I want to get this right, Center for Seniors. It's not a senior center, bad connotation. And I will say this, and I encourage my fellow elected officials to have a conversation with Kathy Jordan and also some of the seniors in town. It's not your, in fact, they have a presentation coming up, and I'll announce it at another meeting. I don't have the information with me. This is not your father's senior center, is what the presentation is. I went to the Glendale Heights Center for Seniors, and it was fantastic. It was, 10:30 on a Tuesday morning, and it was full, brand new. It was a terrific showcase. It was really a gathering place for seniors and a destination. And I do think it's something seriously that we should consider here in Elmhurst. And I'm looking forward to working with the Senior Commission on some future studies, but also the presentation that they're going to be having. And that concludes my report for this evening. Alderman Healy?
Follow-up question. So the Glendale Heights facility, was that a Park District run facility or was that a city run facility? Because we have one.
This one is, and I...
By the Park District.
Right. This one is a city-run one.
Okay.
And there's a pretty big distinction if you, and I would encourage anybody to go there.
Do you know, does Glendale Heights have a combined Park District city? Are they one entity or do they have a separate elected body?
They're combined. The Park District, I believe, would you consider a department of the city.
Okay.
All right. And by the way, the mayor speaks highly of you, Mr. Sturino. She's a character. I'd recommend you meet her as well. Okay. Anyone? Let's see. That's it for me on reports. City Manager Grabowski.
One item this evening at your positions is the capital budget. I'm not going to make a presentation on it tonight, but I will at a future council meeting. So it's in the binders. Please take it, take a look through it, and then we will discuss it in the future.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Nothing else.
Any other reports or recommendations from elected officials? Seeing none, we're going to go on to resolutions. Agenda item 9. 9.1, Clerk Spencer, I ask that you read the resolution.
A resolution authorizing the issuance of a notice of award for the Crescent Avenue, Cambridge Avenue Stormwater Improvement Project.
Okay, to put this before council, I'll ask for a motion to approve the resolution as read. Motion by Alderman Kennedy, second by Alderman Deuter. Alderman Kennedy, any comment?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm just going to kind of group these three together. Obviously, we approved the committee reports. These are to move forward with the 3 stormwater projects and get going on those as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments? I'd ask Clerk Spencer to read the, call the vote.
York.
Aye.
Toledo, absent. Healy.
Aye.
Levin.
Aye.
Kennedy.
Aye.
Onquist.
Aye.
Wagner.
Aye.
Mulliner.
Aye.
Deuter.
Aye.
Sabatino.
Aye.
Leader.
Aye.
Dunn.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Polumsky, absent. 12 ayes, 0 nays, 2 absent.
12 ayes, 0 nays, motion carries. Agenda item 9.1 is approved. On to agenda item 9.2. Clerk Spencer, I'd ask that you read the ordinance.
A resolution authorizing the issuance of a notice of award for the Geneva Avenue Stormwater Improvement Project.
Okay, to put this before council, I'll ask for a motion to approve the ordinance as read. Motion by Alderman Kennedy, second by Alderman Deuter. Alderman Kennedy, your comments cover it the first time?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, any additional comments or questions as it relates to this? Clerk Spencer, I'd ask that you call the vote.
York.
Aye.
Toledo, absent. Healy.
Aye.
Levin.
Aye.
Kennedy.
Aye.
Onquist.
Aye.
Wagner.
Aye.
Mulliner.
Aye.
Deuter.
Aye.
Sabatino.
Aye.
Leader.
Aye.
Dunn.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Polumsky, absent. 12 ayes, 0 nays, 2 absent.
12 ayes, 0 nays, motion carries. Agenda item 9.2 is approved. On to agenda item 9.3. Clerk Spencer, I'd ask that you read the resolution.
A resolution authorizing the issuance of a notice of award for the York Street I-290 Stormwater Improvement Project.
Okay, to put this before council, I'll ask for a motion to approve the ordinance as read. Motion by Alderman Kennedy, second by Alderman Deuter. Any comments? Seeing none, I'll ask Clerk Spencer to call a vote.
York.
Aye.
Toledo, absent. Healy.
Aye.
Levin.
Aye.
Kennedy.
Aye.
Onquist.
Aye.
Wagner.
Aye.
Mulliner.
Aye.
Deuter.
Aye.
Sabatino.
Aye.
Leader.
Aye.
Dunn.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
12 ayes, 0 nays, 2 absent.
12
Oh,
ayes.
I didn't call Polumsky, who was absent. Sorry.
Still absent. 12 ayes, 0 nays, motion
12 ayes,
carries.
0 nays, 2 absent.
Agenda item 9.3 is approved. On to other business. Any other business? Alderman Deuter.
Thank you, Mayor. Just going back to the 4 reports that were approved tonight for the 4 different stormwater projects, I think it's just worth emphasizing that those 4 projects combined will provide 39 acre-feet of stormwater storage and will benefit more than 110 homes.
Fantastic. I will add to that, that there was a, how can I put this? There was a Public Works meeting on Friday morning, which was originally scheduled for Monday. And I think most people who understand what we do understand that we meet every Monday night. And quite frankly, that's a tough thing to do, 52 days a year or whatever the number is. That's a lot of meetings, and sometimes, especially in the summer, along with travel and business, sometimes, occasionally, we can't get a quorum. And I want to thank the committee for, it certainly wasn't intended, but they didn't have a quorum last Monday evening. And they checked their schedules, and they did everything within the letter of the law and our policy. And they met on Monday morning to help. Friday morning, I'm sorry. They met on Friday morning to move these projects forward, and they are of the utmost importance. And that 39 acre-feet is a huge amount, and this is stuff that we've been working on for, well, years. So I appreciate the committee's work. I appreciate the committee putting in the extra effort to schedule that extra meeting. So, Alderman Healy.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm gonna kill the mood.
Oh, boy.
Unfortunately, the crossing at York and Prairie Path continues to be a very dangerous one. In fact, it's the most dangerous crossing on the Prairie Path from Wheaton to Berkeley. There is a study that backs that up. 2 more serious accidents have occurred within the last approximately 8 weeks. The most recent one was a week ago Friday. A 14-year-old boy on a bike was hit by a car, required medical transport. That's the second both accidents that have occurred within the last 6 to 8 weeks have required medical transport. The reason I bring this up, council has wrestled with that intersection for years. It's been a lengthy budget conversation a couple of times that Alderman gets scared off by the amount of money it might take to do something about that intersection. There's money in the budget now for an underpass. I am not advocating that we push forward with the underpass. However, as the the Public Works Committee and previously has looked at, and staff has looked at different signage, different lighting. Basically, we've got disco lights over there now, and it's still not helping. In fact, it may be it may be hurting, but that's my novice opinion. I have nothing to back that up on. Point being, people continue to be hit that intersection. Don't hold me to these numbers, but I believe that we're up to 10 significant accidents at that intersection in the last 4 years. So this is something we're gonna look at again. We discussed as a council rerouting the Prairie Path potentially to Seminole and south with the Park District's help. I know staff has reached out recently. The Park District to get those conversations going again. They kind of took a back seat to stormwater. We've gotten to a point now with the Park District where stormwater, we've got some projects going. We're kind of waiting on some others, but now might be a good time to take another look at York and Prairie Path. But that is a significant safety hazard in town, and we need to do something about it. So I just wanted to make the council aware of those 2 accidents, and this is something you'll see us deal with here in the short to mid-term.
Okay, any other business? Alderman Kennedy.
I just wanted to add to Alderman Healy's comments. At our last Stormwater Communication Committee meeting, at the conclusion, after we were done with the stated agenda, I asked under other business that the city manager and the Park District get together on this very subject. And I know that has started. I'm fully with you. We need to do something with that intersection because it is in need of significant improvement. And if that means we need to move the Prairie Path, we ought to get on that pretty darn quick.
Okay, Alderman York.
Thank you, Your Honor. Back in the stormwater, I'd just like to say a special thanks to city staff, to the committee, for all the hard work that's been done in stormwater. And I say this because tonight there was another hearing, another public, what's the word I'm looking for, the when the neighborhoods get together.
Open house.
Open house, yeah, thank you. I don't know why. It's 10 o'clock. Neighborhood open house for the stormwater projects. We had one last week for Golden Meadows, and it takes a lot of involvement by city staff to be there, put up the storyboards, and walk the neighbors through what's occurring in their neighborhoods. It's invaluable. It answers a lot of questions for people on how it's going to affect their properties. And I'd just like to say thank you for everybody for doing this. I know this is the job that we all have to do, but it does take dedication, and it's very meaningful to the people who it's affecting. So thank you.
Alderman Dunn.
Got a few more calls this week from some residents about the airplane noise, and a few of them asked, what is the city going to do about this? Well, we took a nice step tonight. We passed the resolution for the IGA to become a member of the O'Hare Noise Compatibility Commission. So hopefully with our membership there, we will be have more input and more knowledge of the events that are going on and the decisions and proposals that are going on revolving around O'Hare, and specifically the noise issue. Thanks.
Okay, any other business? Alderman Bram.
Thank you, and I echo Alderman Dunn's comments on that, so I won't go any further about O'Hare and the noise. I had 3 residents just yesterday stop me and talk about the O'Hare noise and how it's not just at nighttime, that it is more frequent every day of the week, et cetera. So I'm glad that Elmhurst is making sure that we do our best to eliminate or mitigate as best as possible. But I wanted to take this opportunity to actually do a public service announcement, what Alderman Healy was referencing about York and the Prairie Path. And it has been a discussion for many years. I personally think that there's a lot of confusion since Illinois passed the law, and the law, I'm not saying verbatim here, but was pretty much to say that the pedestrian has the right of way once they're in the crosswalk. Many pedestrians, I feel, and some of these accidents that were referenced are the pedestrian hitting the car and not the car hitting the pedestrian, because the pedestrians using the prairie path are making the assumptions that cars will stop. And the law states if you are in the crosswalk, which seems to be common sense, the cars will stop. So my PSA is anybody who uses the prairie path, anybody who drives across the prairie path, just please be aware from a pedestrian as well as while you're in the car. Obviously, don't do sudden braking if you're in the car, but utilize the stop sign that is there, the measures that have been put in place, and don't make any assumptions. I think I was taught this in 3rd grade. Don't make any assumptions that a car is going to stop. You stop for the car. Because I think it is a valid public service announcement. I do agree with Alderman Healy's comments that it just seems like there's more and more incidences at that intersection. And I don't know, I don't want to point the fingers either direction, but just please be aware when you're in that area.
Okay, any other business? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Alderman Healy, second by Alderman Kennedy. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.